Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Greetings from Koh Samui, coming to you from my home office today. I just wanted to make another video going over sort of like an action plan that can help you make the transition to moving over to Thailand. This is becoming an increasingly appealing option for a lot of people that are sick and tired of their lives in their home country, and they want to come over to a place like Thailand with a lower cost of living, better quality of life, friendly people, delicious food, good health care. The list goes on and on. So in this video, we're just going to be putting together an action plan. I'm going to be discussing what you need to get in order before making the move over here, during, and after. So enjoy the video. Please subscribe to the channel and let's get started. So number one, I want to go over the different visa options available in Thailand, since this is the most common question that I get asked from viewers, subscribers, and commenters on this channel. And I would say for good reason, that a lot of these people don't really know what's involved to get the visa set up so that they can stay over here long term. Now, luckily, Thailand, compared to other countries in Southeast Asia, offers numerous different options available to choose from. You've obviously got the retirement visa, which is mostly for if you're over 50 years old, you can get that retirement visa and then just extend it every year. And then you've also got the LTR visa, which is I've made videos about on my channel previously. That's a 10-year visa, but you will need to show some pretty high qualifications in terms of income and monthly salary payments basically to get that one. So that one's not for everyone, of course. It's quite difficult to qualify for. But then you've also got the Smart Visa, which is under the BOI, Board of Investment here in Thailand, same as the LTR visa, which is mostly for if you're launching a startup or you have investor or talent. Let's say you want to join a company and you can apply for the talent visa. There's 5 different options to choose from. I've already made a video about that previously on my channel as well, which you can check out. So that's another really good option, which sort of takes the place of a digital nomad visa. Obviously it's not the same, but it is quite similar. Although again, that one is going to be a little bit difficult to qualify for. In fact, I just recently applied for my second Smart Visa and it was denied because the startup was not innovative enough and it didn't pass their qualifications. But luckily, I already have a previous startup which I can then renew and extend up to 2 years. So I'm definitely considering doing that. All I have to do is register the company and go from there. So the Smart Visa is a good option as well. But obviously, most people will come in on their tourist visa. And depending on which country you live in, you can usually get visa exempt or a 30-day visa on arrival, which you can then extend an additional 30 days. Now, they were a little bit more lenient about that during the pandemic. Obviously, they were offering 45 all the way up to 60 days. And also, Russians, for the time being, can get 90-day visa on arrival because they're trying to incentivize more Russians to come to Thailand, I think. So that's part of the reason for that. But if you're an American citizen like me, then you will just get the 30-day visa and then you can extend that up to 30 days. And then from there, obviously, you can apply for your retirement visa. This is for if you're over 50 years old. So I'm only 37. Obviously, I'm not going to qualify for that particular visa. But I have plenty of retired friends in Samui who are on their retirement visa. And, that's just extendable every year. I think it's like 9,000 baht. So just under $300 for every year to extend the retirement visa. Now, all of these visa different options require you, except for the LTR visa and maybe a few others, require you to do a 90-day report. So this is something that you will usually just do online, or you can go to the immigration office in whatever city you are living in, and then just do the 90-day report there. It's very easy. They basically just want to see that you're still in the country and you're not roaming around. So that's the point of that. And you've also got other options like education and volunteer visa. This education visa is mostly for if you're learning Thai or maybe you're teaching English in a school, international school, something along those lines. Then you would most likely go for the education visa. So those are a few of the different visa options available to choose from. You can schedule a call on my website below, Be Remote Consulting. If you have any questions at all, it's $100 for a one hour consultation call, and I will leave that up to you. Number two, We're going to be discussing one of the other most common questions that I get asked, and that is the cost of living in Thailand. Now, I've previously done a full-length interview on Retired Working for You. This was about 11 months ago now, where I was basically taking everyone through my day-to-day expense report, if you will, in Koh Samui, the island where I live in Thailand, and it worked out to be about $1,000 per month. Now, obviously, that has gone up fairly significantly, but not very much, in the past 8 months or so, as more and more tourists are starting to visit the island, and it's driving up the prices of rent and food, these sorts of things, electricity as well. But yeah, luckily we have a really nice place here, and it's still roughly 35,000 baht per month, give or take. This pales in comparison to what I was spending in the US. In Austin, Texas, I was spending roughly 4 or 5 times as much for a much poorer quality of life. So that just goes to show what you can do over here if you're very budget conscious, you're good with money, and able to control your spending. But even so, like even if you're in Bangkok somewhere and you're staying in a really nice condo in the middle of the city, you're still most likely only going to be spending 50,000 all the way up to 150,000 baht per month, which is considerably lower than wherever you are based now, right? Most likely. So that was actually one of the main reasons why I decided to make the transition move over to Thailand. I didn't even intend on coming over here in the beginning. I flew to Bali and then flew into Phuket, Thailand shortly before the pandemic, and now the rest is history. I've been over here for 4 years now. So if you have any questions at all, again, you can schedule a call on my website. Would love to have a conversation with you about any questions that you have. Maybe you're just in the planning stages, or you're already in the process of making the move over to Thailand and you just need some advice from sort of a veteran who's been here for a while. Then obviously you can schedule a consultation call. Link in the description below. And number 3, we're going to be talking about remote jobs and finding employment in Thailand. So let's say you already have a fully remote job in your home country, earning a decent salary, 3,000, 4,000 upwards per month. Then at that point you're pretty much all set, and then you can just come in on a tourist visa, which you can always upgrade at a later point if you so desire to like a smart visa or an LTR visa like I talked about earlier in this video. But for the most part, there's nothing much to worry about because you are working for an employer outside of Thailand, which means that you're not taking jobs from any Thai people. You're earning an income from outside the country, foreign earned income, which you can then obviously transfer over into your Thai bank account once you open a bank account. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. And that's most likely going to be taxed moving forward. Thailand has rolled out recently a new Thai tax law that is potentially most likely going to tax foreign earned income, but there's still not too many details about it. So it's nothing much to worry about at the moment, but just know that moving forward. And if you don't have a remote job, as I haven't for many years now, you may be forced, or it may be necessary, to find gainful employment over here in Thailand. Now, I've worked for 3 companies in the past 4 years. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that in this video. I worked for 2 of the companies for 1 month, and then my previous employer, I worked there about 1 year, and then eventually decided to relinquish my work permit, which was through the BOI. And now, for better or worse, I'm back on a tourist visa again, which I'm in the process of converting into another smart visa. But that being said, this can be quite tricky, is finding employment, because you will need to be sponsored by a company most likely. So that's how I got my previous 3 jobs over here. They sponsored me, and then I just started working for those companies. One was in Phuket, one was in Bangkok, and another one was in Bangkok, but I was working remotely from here in Samui, and it was only about 10-15 hours per week. So it was a pretty cushy job, and I was basically just doing all of their marketing and lead generation. Now, obviously, I would recommend getting out there, meeting people, networking a little bit in order to find these sorts of jobs. But again, you will be required to have a work permit if you want to legally work for a company over here, which, 9 times out of 10, the company is just going to sponsor you. They'll get the work permit taken care of because obviously they want to cover their asses as well. So yeah, you need to make sure to have that work permit so that everything is legally taken care of if you're working for a company over here. One of the main reasons for that is because they don't want foreigners to be taking jobs from Thai people who are already, qualified to do the work. I think the United States could obviously stand to learn a lesson from this, as well as many other countries around the world. It seems like more and more refugees are just coming into these countries and taking jobs. We're paying all the taxes for them, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense, right? So, Thailand is definitely ahead of the curve on this, and it's just something that you need to follow and obey the rules over here, and everything will be okay, right? So number 4, we're going to be talking about setting up a bank account in Thailand. This is something that I was, kind of struggling with for about 2.5 years, roughly, was opening up a bank account in Thailand. There's a number of reasons why this is important. I would say probably number 1 is just to save on the surcharge fees that you incur every time that you go to an ATM. So I was using my US debit card. I have a Chase bank card. And every time I went to the ATM, I would have to pay 220 baht, which is roughly $7 USD. May not seem like a lot, and I always tried to take out the maximum amount every time I went to the ATM, so I didn't have to be doing this all the time. But obviously this starts to add up after a while. $7, $7 every time that you go to the ATM. So this is one of the main reasons why it's super important to get a bank account opened up over here while you're in Thailand. So I use Bangkok Bank. There's many other ones to choose from. You've got Kung Sri, SCB, Krung Thai is another one. There's a bunch of them, and they all have different colors. Bangkok Bank is blue. I believe Kung Sri is green. No, that's yellow. And then SCB is purple, I think. So it's always pretty easy to identify the banks based on the colors. But yeah, this is really important because you only pay 10 baht and usually only 0 baht, typically, whenever you go to the ATM if you have a Thai bank account. So it saves a lot on the surcharge fees, which can really add up over time if you're using your debit card from your home country. Obviously, I think that goes without saying. Now, you will be required to have a work permit to open the bank account unless you know somebody who has connections who can basically get you in there, and then you basically just have to show proof of residence and maybe some payment slips, proof of income, something along these lines, and then you can open a bank account without the work permit. But it's definitely a good thing to have that before you open the bank account, because most banks won't allow you to open one without that work permit, with the exception of Bangkok Bank. So this is something that's really good to know before you come over to Thailand and when you're here as well. Now, obviously, if you have a retirement visa, then that essentially takes the place of a work permit. Although it doesn't allow you to work, you are legally not allowed to work in Thailand on a retirement visa. But with that retirement visa, you need a bank account to get it in the first place, because you need to show most likely 800,000 baht in a bank account. There's ways to get around this by using a visa agent. But yeah, definitely a good idea to have a bank account. Saves on fees. Very easy to pay for anything over here. You can simply whip out your phone, scan a QR code to pay. Super easy, straightforward, and I use it all the time. So that's a few of the steps that you need to go through to get the bank account open in Thailand. Again, schedule a consultation call on my website if you have any questions about any of this stuff. I'm a wealth of knowledge. And number 5, we're going to be talking about the best places to live in Thailand, since this is also a very common question that I get asked. And now obviously it's very subjective. It's entirely going to depend on your life situation. Let's say you want to meet other digital nomads, for example, then obviously Chiang Mai, Thailand in the north, would be the best place to go for that. Beautiful nature, cheap, affordable living, lots of co-working spaces, friendly people, which is pretty much anywhere that you go in Thailand. But yeah, Chiang Mai is in the north. Beautiful place. I've lived there myself for about 4 or 5 months with my girlfriend. That's actually where I met my girlfriend 3 years ago. So it definitely has a certain fond place in my heart, and would love to continue, would love to go back up there again sometime soon. But for me, it doesn't have beaches, and I need to be somewhere near water. I've learned this lesson over, since I moved to Thailand. I really, really want to be near a beach, and this is one of the many reasons why I choose Koh Samui as my home base. Also, it's not as busy as Phuket. It's a real island, which means it's not connected by a bridge to the mainland, so not just anybody can come over. They have to either fly in or take a boat over. So I kind of like that. It cuts down on tourism a little bit, although the island definitely is starting to get noticeably busier, especially this year after the Chinese New Year. But yeah, Koh Samui is a really good option if you're looking for a place with beautiful beaches. You've obviously also got Phuket, which is the largest island in Thailand. This is where I first flew into back in 2020 from Singapore. I flew into Phuket and then, spent about, I think, 2 or 3 weeks there roughly. And it was completely deserted back then. Now, obviously now it's gotten overrun with Russians and other nationalities, which a lot of people complain about. Doesn't really bother me all that much, although haven't actually been back to Phuket for about 10 months now, roughly. So definitely prefer Koh Samui. But if you like the big island with a lot of things to do, beautiful beaches, and that sort of thing, then Phuket could be a really good option for you. And then you've also got Bangkok, obviously, which is the capital city, otherwise known as the Big Mango. This is where you want to go if you just want to be in the hustle and bustle all the time. I personally don't like it that much because there's a lot of traffic, pollution, too many people, and I just decided to escape. I don't want to go back into the rat race again and into the city. So I'm definitely more interested in living the island lifestyle, but obviously it's not for everyone. Bangkok has a lot to offer. Delicious food, tons of bars, and a plethora of things to do. You're almost never going to get bored in the city if you're going out doing things. Lots of active nightlife. You got Khao San Road, Soy Cowboy is another one. Many different districts to choose from: Asok, Sukhumvit, Silom, a couple other ones as well. I don't know Bangkok as well as maybe some of the YouTubers you watch on here, but yeah, that's a great option as well. And then you've also got Pattaya, which is only about 30-40 minutes from Bangkok. Even more of a party scene. Lots of crazy things going on there all hours of the day, especially at night. And again, I also lived in Pattaya for roughly a month and a half with some friends that I had met in Bangkok. This was during the pandemic. We rented a huge villa and had parties, invited over girls all the time. And that was a lot of fun, I guess, for a while. But after about a month, I decided to move on. And I didn't really want to continue living that type of life, right? So Pattaya for me is also not really a very good option. But obviously, different strokes for different folks. It's entirely going to depend on your age, I would say. If you're a little bit younger, Pattaya could be a lot more appealing than if you're in your 60s, or maybe not. It entirely depends on the person's personality, obviously. But yeah, so those are a few of the best places I would say to live in Thailand. You've also got Isan, which is a little bit more rural, very local Thai. So if you speak the language really well, that could be a good option if you want to just live on a farm and not have all of the modern conveniences. Just kind of sabai, relax, enjoy your life, and not have all the stressors that you would have in the big city, right? So those are a few of the best places to live in Thailand. And number 6, I just wanted to go into a little bit more detail about how to earn an income without working for an employer or having a remote job. And that is you can launch your own YouTube channel, which is exactly where you're watching this video right now. This is something that I've been doing for the past 3 years. It's definitely not an overnight success, but if you do decide to come over to Thailand, there's more and more vloggers popping up all the time that are, traveling. Let's say they're traveling full time as a digital nomad, or they have a channel specifically focused around Thailand, and then obviously they can move around, make content from other parts in Southeast Asia or Europe or any number of places. But, I would highly recommend starting to build your personal brand now rather than later. So the longer you wait, you're going to continue losing ground and falling behind. That's why the best time to start was yesterday, and the second best time is today. This can be a really, really good way to supplement your income from, let's say you have other clients that you're working with online. YouTube will just start bringing in consistent income every month from the ad revenue that you generate on your channel. So for me personally, I'm making about $250 per month, give or take, sometimes more, sometimes less, depends on the fluctuations and the number of views that I'm getting, impressions on my ads, that sort of thing. But it's definitely a nice way to supplement your income. And now keep in mind, obviously, the cost of living, as I mentioned earlier in this video, in Thailand is significantly lower than it would be, for example, in Austin, Texas, where I lived for many years. So you don't need to be making a ton of money. $250 a month is enough almost to pay rent, depending on where you're staying. If you're in Chiang Mai, you can be doing pretty well just by running a YouTube channel. So this is definitely something to consider. And then you can also obviously start monetizing your Facebook page. Link in the description below for more details about that. This is something I made a free training about. There's videos on my YouTube channel as well. And I'm also opening up a community teaching people how to do this sort of thing. Not only YouTube, but also earning an income from your Facebook page as well. So these are just a few of the things I recommend if you want to not necessarily work for somebody else, but be your own boss, do some freelance stuff, and just start getting income every month by building your personal brand, launching a YouTube channel, and just start monetizing your content. So hope that's helpful. And if you've gotten value from this video, please subscribe. You can also consider becoming a paid subscriber. I think it's like 99 baht per month. I'd really appreciate that as well. And once again, go ahead, schedule a consultation call on my website, Be Remote Consulting. Link in the description below. And I look forward to hopefully having a chat with you sometime soon. Stay tuned for upcoming videos from Koh Samui. And I will also be going to the Philippines in May for a speaking event at a digital nomad conference. It's going to be in El Nido, Palawan, which I've been wanting to visit for quite some time now. So definitely looking forward to that. Stay tuned for videos from there, from Philippines as well. And with that being said, take care, stay safe. Peace from Thailand.